Right, widening the beachhead. Strange term. What does it mean? It means you sort of trade pawns to clear a path for the king. Um, I guess the idea is there's the beachhead's just full of stuff, and you can't get onto the beach or you can't get into the sea or something. But yeah, you sort of clear a path for the king to get onto the beach by widening the beachhead. I'm sure there's different things it could be called, but it's the idea of trading off pawns to clear a path for the king. So check out this position first of all. It's black to play. It's from 1925. Nimzovich is black in this one, and yeah, I mean, what would you do as black? Because it looks a little bit like you're in trouble. Like white's going to play c3, swap this off, and create an outside pass pawn. You know, you think, well, I kind of need to do something about that now, so maybe play c5. C5 throws away the game because white does exactly that plan. I mean, that's gone. You can see that's gone. That's going to bring the king in here, and it's Pac-Man time. That's gone. And then you think, well, what else do you do as black? And Nimzovich found not only a way to save the game, but a way to win the game. He went and widened the beachhead. So, king c7. White carried on with their c3 idea. I think if you take that, you do lose. In fact, it amuses me this, but the correct move is king b6. Now that's now checkmating 27 to black apparently. Anything else, and the best you could achieve is checkmating 32 to white. So, can you not see this is checkmating 32? If you play b3, for example. Yeah, so king b6 takes king b5. White comes and defends their b pawn. King a4, and white resigned because they're in zugzwang and they can see that their pawns are going to fall. Really, really clever by Nimzovich back here. You know, he saw the outside pass pawns about to be created, but he can come along and trade off the pawns and widen the beachhead. You know, all the queenside pawns have been traded, and he's then just going to outflank the white king and yeah, come and win the d pawn. Now, a little bit more interesting is back in this position, white might realise, oh, hang on a minute, if I take on b4, king b5, king c3, king a4, I'm in a bit of a zugzwang there. So I need to try something else. And then white might play c4, which is maybe a better try. How about that? King a6. I mean, black has different winning moves, but I'm reasonably sure they all revolve around the same idea. So what if white can't do nothing there? Can they just play a waiting move with the king? This is the thing, that white can't do nothing there. That's the problem. They have no moves to hold on to the c pawn. So white exchanges, comes back to c2, king a5. King b2. I suppose if they come into b3 straight away, we've got king b5, and we're going to transpose. King back to c2, king a3, king b1, and check this out. After b3, white doesn't take on b3 because that's clearly one for black. White would play king a1, and now you have to play king b4. I mean, you obviously had nothing else, but that was white's last try to try and get themselves stalemated. But king b4, and once again it's gone. King b2 takes on a2. White can resign. Really clever move by Nimzovich. King c7 won the game. Right, this is an endgame classic. I've seen this in videos online where people are sort of explaining various things on endgames. So this is a game from 1909 where Rubinstein is black. It's a reasonably drawn position. White can just play f4, maybe the idea of stopping black getting to the h pawn. and it's very hard for white to make progress. Certainly, there's like a whole rook ending to be played here. I mean, you'd rather be black from the better pawn structure and the currently more active rook, but white blundered with rook c1. That's just gone down from 0.0 to minus 2.9. And Rubinstein took it and sort of just demonstrated perfect endgame technique, and the rest is endgame technique. Just brought his king to h3, and white could only meet king h3 with king g1. And now black's just got time to improve their position. And what Rubinstein's plan is going to be is to swap off basically all the kingside pawns, widen the beachhead, basically, to clear a path for his king to come and grab the queenside ones. So e5, I mean, white's got no moves. White's just got to play king h1, king g1. b5 is a good move, fixes the queenside pawns. White just carries on with their king g1, king h1 plan. Show me what you've got. King g1, and black just gets everything into place. And then plays g4. Couple of choices for white here. I mean, if e4, then we'll see a takes on e4. Again, a couple of choices for white. If f takes e4, h4, king g1, g3, takes. It's done. You can see it's done. I mean, white could carry on, but we're winning this and we're winning the game. Okay, we've cleared off all the kingside pawns and cleared that path that we talked about. If white takes on g4, we can take back with the h pawn, king g1 still, and it's pretty similar. e3, f takes e3, e4, king back to h1 and g3. Okay, so there's not really much white can do in that position. But they don't have to play e4 on that move. They could instead here take, and this is their better try actually, they could instead take with the f pawn. Now if you take with the f pawn, that's the better way of doing things, because it's going to transpose to the game pretty quickly, to be honest. e4, h4, we're going to transpose to the game. So that's what black should do. But if black's a little bit careless, it's still won, but there's something to be talked about here if black does this h takes g4. I mean, what white's really trying to achieve, crucially in all of this, is the swapping of the e pawns. If you can completely clear the kingside pawns, the widening the beachhead doesn't work. So we see a takes, king back to h1. And if black's a bit careless here, and well, f3 is the winning move. If black's a bit careless and plays g3, this is now a draw, because white just liquidates. And this is a study in its own right, by the way. We come all the way over, and then white pushes the a pawn. I mean, what does black do? They either convert, and the white king's getting to a1. That's just one. Or there's just nothing they can do, is there? So yeah, that's just drawn. So you have to be a bit careful. Black's best try, like I say, in that position is to take the g pawn, and then that's white's best try, sorry. And then black should take back with the f pawn. Like, he wants to widen the beachhead to clear a path for the king, but not too much. You want to leave a couple of deck chairs on the beach. Why not? I barely understand this widening the beachhead metaphor. So why not? They can be deck chairs, and then black can come and have one of them on the way. There you go. Bet you never ate a deck chair as part of a game of chess, but that's what Rubinstein needed to do. Moving on, before I talk so much gibberish that you've lost the plot of what's going on. So this is a game from 1936. It's in the tragicomedies of Dvoretsky's book, and the game went like this: King h7, King f7, King h8, King f8, g5, and black resigned. And that was it. And maybe both players came away from that game thinking, well, black thought, oh, I tried my best, and white thought, oh, I played that endgame really, really well. And then someone, I forget who it was, years later pointed out that basically every single move in that position was a calamity. Okay. So, I mean, king h7 is a bad move. We'll come back to it. King f7 is a bad move. So king h7 threw away the win. King f7 gave it back again. King h8 is a dreadful move. That throws away the win. And king f8 once again gives it back again. Okay, so we'll start here within this position. What black should have done is push the h-pawn. Okay, so that move draws the game. There's just not really anything white can do. If we push the g-pawn, king into g6, how about that? That is such a beautiful end to a game. White's only got one move. White's forced to stalemate the black king. Brilliant, isn't it? How about that? King G. So you force your opponent to stalemate you. I don't think I've ever seen that. It's really good. And if white takes this, then just come back to f8. You can see that white's not making any progress there. If we go h6, we go g6. If anything, white's got to be a little bit careful there not to be forced to push the h-pawn. They're going to get a stalemate anyway, aren't they? But they'll probably have to stalemate themselves. So yeah, in that position there, black should have played h5. But white, instead they played king f8 and lost. The game went like this, and black resigned. White should never have given them the chance to play h5. White should have played it themselves. By the way, if white plays g5 here, then black still plays h5. And again, there's not really much you can do. We could see king h8, king g6. How about that? Same beautiful forced stalemate. We could see g6 check, couldn't we? And then we go king f6. And this is a bit more interesting. There's a bit more to check here because we're going to snatch a pawn, come back. The white king is going to win the d pawn, so we've got to get on with it. And that's a draw. I guess we could spend a bit more time on that as a queen ending, but it is a draw. So that was g6 back there. Yeah, so g5 doesn't work, basically. So white should play h5. h5 wins because you're stopping black from playing h5. And we'd see maybe king f6. You've also got king f8. White would play king g6. And then we'd say king g8. g5, king f5 was also winning, but this is the widening the beachhead thing. We see a swap off, I don't know, king into h7, maybe king f5, king h6. Can I even come back to g? Oh, king come back to g4 is a draw, so you do have to come in and you win the pawn race. Fine. Or we could see king f6, and then the white king comes around the back. And this is a pretty easy win from there. So that's what white should have played in that position. White should have played h5. Okay. But if we go back a move before, so white plays king h7, and black should have drawn it from here. They played king f7, gave the win back. I say they gave the win back to white. A lot of the toing and froing was just both sides not finding a move that needed playing. And black draws this with h5 yet again. And we've sort of been through all the variations here, but just, g5, then we see a sort of an opposition thing going on. g6, and we've already been through something incredibly similar to this. Draw. Okay. If white takes the h-pawn, we've been through that and it's just a draw. What else did we have? I'm sure in the g5 bit we've got king f7. Oh yeah, we've seen g6 check, but you've also got this beautiful king h8 forcing white to stalemate you again. There's lots of transposing going on here, isn't there? But from playing h5 a move later. So yeah, king h7 is threw away the win, and black should have played h5. But what white should have played right in the starting position is, well, they've got different winning moves actually. h5 wins and king h5 and king f5. But I think the king h5 and king f5 win because we're sort of messing around, going around in circles. But the way to sort of demonstrate it straight away is g5. And this is the widening the beachhead idea. King comes into f7 and we just push the h-pawn. I mean, it's really simple. Until we get to there, that's not so simple. That's a bit more interesting, isn't it? So black plays king g8 in that position. That's a clever try, actually, isn't it? Because that's what does white do to not stalemate the black king? Well, they do that. I guess king h7. Then we can take on g7 and come into g5. Or if instead of king h7 takes the pawn, we're going to outflank the black king. So the black king has to come around this way. And we're going to see a pawn race, but very easy winning queen ending. Queen f6 is suggested as the first move. So yeah, absolute calamity that game. White should have widened the beachhead to win it, and black should have played h5 there when they had the chance, and there when they had the chance. H5 would have drawn it for black. And white should have played h5 there, having realised what black's drawing plan was. Right, next. This is a game from 1986. It's white to play. Pause the video and decide what you'd do here. So white's a pawn up here, but it's not immediately clear how you're going to do anything with that extra pawn. There's different winning methods in this position. There's some really complicated, clever stuff you can do. Apparently, king h2 is a genius first move in some other alternative method that, quite frankly, I didn't bother trying to understand in the end, because one reasonably nice but also involving some clever moves way to do it is just to push this pawn, and when black takes, you do not take back. If you take back, you lose rather than win. You just play king f3. So that was the way to do it. And when we swap on e3, take with the pawn. I don't know, king d6. Black could play king e6. We go king into f4. And yeah, we've swapped all the pawns and we've cleared the path to the c pawn. It's worth remembering, by the way, if one of the positions in the corresponding squares video involves, well, I'll just show you actually. I'll just mess around a little bit and this is just completely won for white. We'll push this c pawn. We'll go king back to here, here. Let's go king here, here, here. Here. This is kind of very easily won for white. But what I'm going to do is just play this king back to here. It's a silly move, and then I'm going to play an even sillier move for white in this position. So this precise position is great for understanding corresponding squares, and I think we should know, and I personally do know, this exact position. So we should learn how to win this position because, one, it makes us understand corresponding squares, and two, it's an actual position that's sort of common enough that could come up. You should just know the procedure for winning it. So check that out again in the corresponding squares section. Because, I mean, just knowing that means that you just know that once that c-pawn's gone, that's it, you've won. I'm going to do another video on f and H pawns versus H pawn, or in this case A and C pawns versus an A pawn. But one important point is if this black A pawn's left the back rank, I think you've just had it. Depending, unless the king's in an incredibly good place, I think you've just had it. So yeah, make sure you know that. But that was the widening the beachhead theme. We didn't check out King E6, did we? Back here instead of King D6, but I don't think it makes a lot of difference. Still coming to F4. Yeah, I mean, it's gone. We're winning this, and we're going to get into that position that is a known win. Check out the corresponding squares video again if you need to. Right, finally this one. White to play. How are you going to win it? White to play and win. Pause the video and decide. This is actually a study by Jonathan Spielman from 1979, so sort of quite a modern study. Like, White's in a pretty good position here, and you know, we can sort of gain opposition against the black king and use it to. Black doesn't really want to push this pawn. That's going to be a complete nightmare. So we've got the opposition and sort of reserve tempi. Black hasn't really got reserve tempi because our king's in such a good place. But if you take the opposition straight away with King E5, you've just thrown away the win. Black can play King D7, and you think, well, what's so good about that? Now I can come in. Well, we'll show you what's so good about King D7. Black queen's first. Draw. So King E5 is a mistake, because after King D7, White would have nothing better to do. King D5, King C7, King C5. And Black can even play their king back to D7. White's not really making progress. I mean, we could try King B6. That gets met with King C8. So what you have to do is you have to go King G5, and now Black's going to come and defend the H pawn, similar to the way that we just saw them defend the B7 pawn. King H6, King G8, and now you play H4. What's so good about this? Black can play King H8. Then you want to keep the opposition, so you play King H5. Black can't play King H7, they can't take their own pawn. King G8, keep the opposition with King G4. King F8, King F4, keep the opposition. Now it's the opposition on the F file that's the important business. Okay, we wanted the opposition, but we wanted it on the F file, and it gets back to the point I sort of kept making on the opposition video. If you've got the opposition, you know, don't just keep the opposition all day and have a party about it. Make sure you know why you've got it and then use it. So once you force Black off the F file, then you move in. So King E8, we would play King G5. And you think, well, you're going around in circles here. King F7, King F5, King E7, King E5. Well, that was the blunder at the start. You've gone all the way over to the king side to go around in circles and come and make the same blunder in the opening position. No, because in the opening position, our pawn was on H3. And if you remember, it was a draw by one move. So this time round, King D7, what's so good about that? Well, nothing's so good about it this time round, because we're going to queen, and alright, Black doesn't queen first, but they still get a queen. They do, but their king's on A5. Oops. Oh no. Yeah, oh no. So yeah, there's still other moves to cover, but really, really clever. You go King G5, the Black king has to come and defend H7. You push the H pawn, you keep the opposition, so you can get back to the starting position, if you like, where you could have had the opposition. There's the opposition on the F file that's important. And then when you force Black off the F file, then you come in and do the thing that you couldn't do at the start because you were one move too slow, but now you're not because your pawn's one further on H4. I mean, this is really tough stuff, by the way. I don't know how Spielman came up with this sort of stuff. But what I'm taking from a lot of these studies is I'm not getting them, but I'm hoping that going through them and understanding them will help me at some point. Anyway, we also need to look at King F7 here for black, where we'd come in to F5. And we've already seen that King E7 gets met with King E5. But what if black plays King G7? Remember, it's the opposition on the F file that's important, and we've now forced black off the F file, so now we go for it. That was the important point, and you can see that this pawn race isn't even close. Complete win for white. So yeah, King G5 is the sort of the brilliant opening move. I shall call it a day there on widening the beachhead.